Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. So today was another one of those kind of low days. Bitcoin was down, miners were down for the most part as well. We have quite a few things to talk about though. We'll talk about Bitcoin price changes today along with miners as well. Latest short data on the miners. There are some interesting things happening there. We got some miners being shorted more, some miners being shorted less. We have also more companies buying BTC. Riot update on, sorry, it should have been Iren update. Why did I have Riot in there? Should have been Iren update on Sweetwater. Turbocharging BTC mining in the US and followed by Q&A. So let's get into it here. But as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button if you guys enjoy this type of content and subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. So let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here really quick. Let's screen here and we can see that Bitcoin was down just a little bit today. It was down 0.81% after having a pretty good Monday. We were up quite nicely. We were up 1.35, but today we're down a little bit. We're still trading kind of sideways in this kind of range here. It seems like between 92,000, I would say 800 or so, and right around 95,000, maybe close to 96,000 even. Right around that. We're kind of in that tunnel right now where it's kind of accumulation phase again before we maybe have another leg up. I saw a post today that, who was it? Tether was printing some more Tether there. So that's usually a good sign. It usually means that somebody's going to be buying quite a bit of Bitcoin here and other cryptocurrencies possibly as well. And whenever you get Tether printing, that's a good sign. So we have that happening. Plus we got other companies buying and everything else. We'll talk about it all here in a second here. But the miners, for the most part, were down today. We had a couple that were in the green. We had Bitfarms was down 2.2%. We got BitDeer down 1.7%. Cypher was up just a little bit, 0.65%. Cleanspark was down 1.52%. It's having a little bit of a retracement here. CORZ was up just a little bit here, 0.61%. Hive was up, or sorry, down 1.71. Hut 8 was down 0.46. Iren was down 1.8. Marathon was actually up today, 1.5. Riot was down 2.75. Wolf was down 3.3. Strategy was up again today a little bit here, 3.3. It's had a nice continuation of a run here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days in the green here. If you don't count this little red day here, it would have been close to 12 days in the green here. So it's had a really nice run up here recently. And I mean, it's back up to what, 380. It started out all the way down to 240. So nice gains there on MicroStrategy. If you got in towards the bottom somewhere, you'd be up right now about 60%. So a nice clawback there by MicroStrategy. Galaxy was down a little bit today. What else? Coin was up just a little bit. And then what else do we have here? GameStop was down a little bit. Small miners were mixed, half and half it looks like more or less. Some in the green, some in the red. Digihost was up another 8.4% today. It's having a nice run up here the last 4 trading days or so. And then we had also Argo being up today as well, 8.7% for really no reason I can think of. I haven't seen any news come out on it. April 21st was the last one. Yeah, I mean, it posted a 14-cent loss per share. Earnings preview possibly 21st. Okay, so not much happening there as far as news is concerned with it. ETFs were down just a little bit today as well, with DGHI being down the biggest, down 0.98%, almost 1% there. Bitcoin here for the month of April is still up 14.25%. So we got, what, tomorrow's the last day of the month, meaning we have approximately, well, 1 day left in trading basically on Bitcoin. We should finish out April in a nice green here. Unless something really drastic happens tomorrow and the things crash, and markets crash and everything else. I don't expect that to happen, but it's always a possibility in these markets and what we're living in right now. All right, but I don't expect it. So right now that's good. We're going to have a good month of April. We'll see where May ends up at. It's going to be fun to watch that one play out. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin ETFs as well. Update this really quick for where we are. And it looks like we have some negative inflows. So yesterday, yeah, I mean, check this out. Yesterday we talked about this. BlackRock bought up a bunch, so we had another positive day there. And then flows on Bitcoin here, or ETFs for Bitcoin. Today we'll see where IBIT also comes in for BlackRock, see if they have inflows or not, but that's a lot. That's almost $1 billion there. 970 million were bought up yesterday on it, so that's interesting there. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of positive inflows on the Bitcoin ETFs. So that's awesome. That's good to see. And we'll see what today comes in like, probably tomorrow at that point. All right, some good news stories that we do have here. Japanese clothing company NAP Holdings Inc. bought 35 Bitcoin worth 3.3 million. So they're going to be buying up as well. You know, it's not a lot, but it's something. It takes it off the exchanges and puts it in somebody else's wallet. And that's a good thing here. We're seeing a lot more companies putting Bitcoin. Also, just in, 5 billion Cardone Capital to acquire 100 plus or 1,000 plus Bitcoin. That's Grant Cardone there. that's another company that's going to be buying Bitcoin here, looks like. They're going to do this for their real estate company there. So it's going to be kind of interesting how they do that going forward. It'd be kind of interesting to see if people would buy that and have them buy maybe more real estate backed by Bitcoin or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens there on that one. And then really quick here, just an Iren update really quick. Iren posted this today on X as well. Big things are happening in Sweetwater, West Texas. We've officially broken ground on Iren's 2 gigawatt data center project. As site manager Paul Houston says, it's going to be massive. Yeah, I mean, 2 gigawatts is going to be massive. My only question on that one is, who is going to want that size of a data center? We see typically these data centers right now we saw, XAI has a data center that's, I think, like 200 megawatts. This is 10 times the size of that for their AI that they're doing there. That's a lot, right? Having it all in one location is also maybe not the best thing to do. Usually they like to be spread out. So, I hope they get somebody in there. I don't know if they're going to get the whole 2 gigawatts used up for just one customer there, but you never know. We have obviously seen CoreWeave be pretty active and, get several hundred megawatts from CORZ Scientific, and now also several hundred megawatts from Galaxy as well. Could they be also a potential suitor for a site like this? Maybe, right? The other ones that we could think of would be like the hyperscalers, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Oracle, some other ones in there as well, Amazon. So those are like the natural suitors that would be maybe ideal for this site, but maybe they don't want all this megawatts. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We've been waiting to hear something positive from Iren as far as any kind of negotiations are concerned regarding a hyperscaler. Last conference call that they had in, when was it? February, I think it was. They stated that they have somebody that emailed them, being interested in the site, but we haven't heard anything else since then. So we'll have to wait some more, I guess, and then hopefully we get some good news on it. So that is it for Iren there. You guys can take a look at the video there. Not much happening. You can see just the ground earth movers moving earth around, getting stuff situated. And then I think they're just getting ready to get the sites energized, more or less, get power to them, and have them ready for something. So we'll see. And then we have here, this is from K2 Macro on X as well. We are winning big. American miners will prevail. Like he's saying Cleanspark here. But this is Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, says the U.S. is going to turbocharge Bitcoin mining in America. And this is only like about a 2-minute clip here. Let's listen to it, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it at the end.
A little bit more on that, maybe how you're helping to take some of your business acumen and to offer that to some of the organizations or companies that you'll be supporting.
So my department, the Commerce Department, has launched the Investment Accelerator. What that means, it's sort of right, IA, AI, that Investment Accelerator. But the idea is when firms and companies want to invest in America, right? If they're going to be over $1 billion investment, let's help them. Let's clear the regulations. Let's help them get the permits. Let's be business friendly. And then if they're investing $10 billion, let's assign someone for white glove service. I mean, a full-time person who's available for them, that can call at any time and all the time, who will make sure that they get the service they deserve from America. So imagine the greatest country in the world actually caring for people who want to invest. And we're doing all sorts of interesting things. I'll give you an example. We're going to make it, if you want to mine Bitcoin, and you find the right place to do it, you can build your own power plant next to it. I mean, think about that for a second. You don't have to necessarily be on the grid, right? So, and you're going to see this happen, which is miners are going to put their data centers on top of gas fields, right? And then put a plant right next to them so that they won't be beholden to the drawing power and listening to all the stories about, oh, you're taking too much power, and now the cost of operating my refrigerator is higher, all the things we have to deal with now. What you'll see is the next generation of miners in America will be able to control their destiny, control the cost of power. And I think that is going to turbocharge Bitcoin mining in America. And so the idea is for the Investment Accelerator to help people, as an example, who have those kind of ideas. How do they get those permits? How do you execute on that plan? You call the Investment Accelerator, and we help you execute.
All right, so there you have it, turbocharging Bitcoin miners. So my take on this is miners are already doing this. You got more already doing this with the gas fields. with the stranded gas. You got also one of the small players there, Quantum Expedition, doing the same thing in much smaller scale. But you have companies already doing this, and you already have companies that own some electrical power plants, I guess you could say. Bitfarms owns some. I believe Hut 8 also owns them in Canada, but that's more in Canada, not the United States. The thing I would have liked to have seen him talk about is small modular reactors, right? SMRs, those, or nuclear reactors. Those things might play a key role going forward, not only for data centers for AI or HPC, but also for Bitcoin mining, where these companies are able to purchase these small modular reactors and put them, maybe in remote places or whatnot, depending. We need a little bit more, I think, as far as the safety record for those things. But based on the safety that they're providing, they're like the fourth generation, right? Really safe operations as it is. Should be no concern there. I'm all for it. So they get. I would have liked, like I said, I would have liked them to have said something like that as well. I think the gas fields is great, also, and we already have companies doing that. So this is all good things. And white glove service to companies that invest 10 billion. I would have maybe raised that up to maybe if you invest 50 billion or 100 billion, you get white glove service. 10 billion. I mean, you put up a data center and you're looking at easily $10 billion, right? So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. But nonetheless, it's good. It's good that the United States is bullish on Bitcoin miners and in general, and they want them to do well here, and they want more Bitcoin to be mined here in the United States as well. So that's great news. I mean, compared to what we had in the prior administration, I mean, this is like night and day from what we're seeing here right now. I'll take it all day long. I hope you guys are for this as well. I think this is good. And, the next couple of years are going to be very interesting, I believe. Again, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But the miners right now are in a pretty good spot as it is, I believe. And we just need Bitcoin to go up in value. And that should happen this year, later on. Okay? So that's it. That's the kind of good news that I have here for you guys right now. Let's take a look at what we have here for the short interest on the miners, which miners being shorted the most here. And if we look at it, this is as of the data from April 14th. We checked it the last time about 2 weeks ago when we got the data released again on it. So here's what we have. Shares shorted stats. Current number of shares shorted. Marathon has the most shares shorted, right? 91.87 million, followed by Cleanspark, 90.71 million now. Riot, 84.32 million. Bitfarms, 55 million plus. CORZ, 47 million plus. Cypher, 40 plus. Iren, 26 million. BitDeer, 22 million. Hut 8, 12. And Hive, only 10 million here. As far as percentage of average floated short wise, we can see that Cleanspark is the most shorted here, 33.32% based on it. BitDeer 27% along with Marathon here, and then Riot almost 26%, followed by CORZ 18%, Cypher 15%, Bitfarms almost 14%, 13.78%, Hut 8 13.64%, Iren 12.7%, and Hive 6.36%. So Hive is the least shorted there. It's also, it is what it is. I don't know why that one's shorted the least. Maybe just the number of shares out there. Also, it could be that they're more Canadian-based, but they are, like I said many, many times before, they are moving their operations, or at least their headquarters, to the United States for reporting on the United States stock exchanges, all those things. Then we look at shares shorted value versus market cap here. We can see that Marathon is almost $5 billion in value here. Their value of short is 1.3 billion. That's a lot, obviously. Then we got Riot here at 2.6 billion roughly, 673 million shorted there. CORZ 2.5 billion, and there 468 million shares shorted. Then you got Cleanspark 2.3 billion and 700 almost 90 million shares shorted. And you can see the rest of them down here as well. And the number of shares shorted changed from last time. So last time was about 2 weeks ago that we looked at this, and we can see here that Cypher has had the most shares increase shorted for them, 4.42 million, followed by CORZ 4.05 million. Cleanspark only 1.41 million, and then Hot 8 1.12 million, BitDeer 0.28, and then we had actually decrease in some. We had a decrease in Hive, Marathon, Iren, Bitfarms, and Riot having the biggest decrease there at 2.34 million. Those guys. So definitely interesting to see how that's playing out. And you can see the percentage change in shares shorted from last review. Cypher had a huge increase in the number of shares being shorted for them, 12.27% increase. Hut 8 came in second there at 9.7%, and followed by CORZ 9.35%, while we saw Cleanspark only 1.58%, BitDeer 1.3%. Iren had the biggest drop, 6.52%, decrease in the shares being shorted there on them. So that was kind of nice to see for them. Bitfarms also down 3.67%, Hive down 3.37%, and the Marathon 1.8% down, and Riot 2.7% there. And then you can see the price change percentage from 12 weeks ago. Marathon is down the least, 14.7, followed by Cleanspark down 20%, then Bitfarms 27, Riot down 33, CORZ 33, 8 down 35, Hive down 36, BitDeer down 36, Iren down 47%, Cypher down 48. Cypher was actually an increase on the number of shares shorted here, while Iren, you can see, was decreasing. So maybe because they've been beaten down quite a bit, the shorts are kind of going, okay, that one's maybe done enough going down here recently. So, but yeah. I mean, some of this stuff doesn't make sense here for me as far as like Cleanspark. Why is Cleanspark being shorted the most? Doesn't make any sense. They're like one of the best miners here. It's like, are they expecting them to go out of business? I mean, it doesn't make any sense there. Yes, they do have convertible notes that are going to be due in a couple of years. They're also tied to their share price and things like that, where they're going to be possibly diluting at that point. But I mean, they're still growing tremendously. It's like either the shorts don't think they're going to grow, or their HODL's going to be worth what it is. They're going to sell a large portion of their HODL that they have here going forward. I don't know what's going on there. Same thing for Marathon, right? Doesn't really make sense. Marathon is way down. It's basically valued just at their own HODL value right now compared to market cap. So that doesn't really make sense there. BitDeer, I think BitDeer is kind of overvalued a little bit right now based on just where they are currently, but they do have quite a bit of growth here happening in the second half of this year and into next year as well. So I could see possibly them being kind of well valued. But why are they being shorted so much? Maybe because they are kind of a little bit overhyped right now, maybe. So that kind of might make sense there. Everybody else here, CORZ going to be making a heck of a lot more money here happening later on this year from CoreWeave. That doesn't really make too much sense for me. And then some of these other guys here that are down quite a bit are also not shorted that much. Much lower, some of these guys that don't perform as well, some of these guys up here are being shorted less than some of the better performers, which doesn't make any sense to me. But the market is what the market is, right? It can remain longer irrational than we can stay solvent. All right, here's the data on these guys here. Starting from BitDeer, going off of a quarter here, you can see the shares being shorted, how that's increased over time here, and that's just continuing to increase for BitDeer here over time. Bitfarms has been coming down here since 2014. That was their peak, 68 million at that point, and it has been coming down. Also, we got Cypher. Cypher's continued to, Cypher was kind of flat here for quite a while, since June of last year. It's been up and down a little bit here, but it's not that big of a difference here. A little surprised by the recent increases that we're seeing on them. From 28 million to 36 million roughly to 40 million again. Now, what's the concern with Cypher? Cypher does have some great sites. They're also trying to get HPCI deals. Is it because of that? Maybe. Right, a lot of people are a little skittish on data centers right now, thinking that it might be too much out there as it is. I don't know. Cleanspark, you can see here, also continuation of an increase here since basically June of last year. It's been continuing increasing. We've had some dips here and there, but they're few and far between right now. Then we got CORZ. CORZ's been between 33 million, like the top was 44. Now we're at 47, so it has been increasing, but we've had many times where it's actually gone flat or at least down a little bit, and then we're going back up on it. Then we got Hive. Hive started at 5.4 million here. Now it's at 10 million, so it has doubled the number of shares being shorted there. Hut 8 has been kind of all over the place. It's still not as high as it's been in the past. And then we got Iren here. Iren started at 6 million. They're way up, basically 4x short on them since last year in June. They're at 26, but it's come down a little bit here on them. And then we got Marathon here all over the place. It's been a roller coaster ride with them. 70 million is where they started. Shares shorted down there at 91, so that's down a little bit, but yeah, still definitely a lot of shares. And then finally we got Riot here. Riot was doing much better towards November of last year, and then it's been pumping back up here recently, but it has had a little cool off period on that one. So interesting part will be to see how the data shapes up in, when we get the report. Possibly we're going to get that, I'm guessing, like the second week of May. We'll get the report for the end of the month of April. It'll be interesting to see how that actually, the shares shorted compares to this one right now, because we've seen the miners do pretty well here, at least in the last couple of weeks, being up 20 plus 30% last week. Some of these guys were only up 10-15%, but still they did pretty good, and they've been kind of on a nice little rally here. So it'll be interesting to see if shorts are coming down because of that and Bitcoin going up, or are the shorts still going crazy and betting on some of these guys to not do well. I mean, if you're betting against the miners, you're also betting against Bitcoin possibly, or you're hedging your bets, so you're going long on Bitcoin and you're shorting the miners, which at that point doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why would you go long on Bitcoin? If you're going long on Bitcoin, I'd go long on the miners as well. That's kind of what I'm doing anyways right now. Because if I believe that Bitcoin is going to go up, I believe the miners will go up as well because, well, they're going to be making more money and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how this plays out over a longer period of time, and we got that data here. So I'll get this available to you guys tomorrow for the Patreon members there. The link for that is down in the description if you guys want to join, a couple bucks a month, and you get access to all the data that I have on these guys, which we track quite tremendously here. Okay, that is it. Let's get into Q&A, see if you guys have any questions, and we'll call it a day. So today's going to be another one of those easy days. It's going to get busier as quarterly results are going to be reported here. We do have some of those coming up here. We got Riot May 1st, so we're about a day away from it. We got Core on the 7th, Hut 8 on the 8th, along with Mara also on the 8th as well. And then we're still waiting on some of the other guys to report when they're going to be reporting their quarterly results. Plus, we'll have the monthly updates coming up as well. So we should have an update from Bitfarms on Thursday, and then everybody else to follow along after that. So it's going to start getting busier. We're going to have a lot more to talk about here. But we still have quite a few things to talk about every day. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening with Bitcoin, right? The adoption, the buying by companies. Arizona passed the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill in the House and Senate. Now it's got to go on to the governor to sign. Hopefully the governor signs it, and you know they're going to be the first state to possibly put 10% of their treasury treasury on Bitcoin. So that's going to be interesting. That might be a good catalyst for Bitcoin there, just to spark things along. But we'll see. All right, let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say. Any questions, thoughts, comments, praise or hate, I guess. Anything else, we'll talk about it. And let me get to it. As always, you can preface the question with a question mark or a Q, and we'll work our way down. I don't see a lot of comments or questions, so that might be pretty good. Let's see. All right, where we got? Talked about that one, okay. Covered those in the comments earlier before the show started. Let's see. All right. We're getting close to it. All right. Talked about that. That's right. I'm just trying to find a good question here. All right. Chris says, by almost every metric, MicroStrategy has outperformed the miners, equal on green days, marginally red on bad days. If it's best in class, maybe better not to debate which miner is best and just stick with MicroStrategy. Yeah, MicroStrategy has definitely done better this past, I would say, year to year and a half than the miners have. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how long it holds. Sometimes it does get overextended. We've seen that last year when it got to $500 some odd and then came crashing down. Right, it does get, like I said, overextended sometimes. It's got to come back down. It did come down nicely. Right, went down to like $260, pretty much 50% off from where it was. And now it's pulling back up here. They continue to buy more Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it does going forward. Okay. Let's see. Kim Chi's got a G Crypto is predicting May 7th blast off date based on M2. I mean, that's kind of what we talked about also past. Maybe we talked about this even yesterday or last week. We talked about it also with the M2 supply, global M2 supply, and comparing it to Bitcoin offset by 100 some odd days. We're looking at May might be the time that we blast off, which would be great. Kim, why is Cleanspark shorted more than the rest? Yeah, I don't quite get it either. I know that they were pulling quite heavily on the ATM before. Okay, I could see why you would short it at that point. They're still like one of the best Bitcoin miners that are out there for growth and just operations and everything else. They're a ways off from being the least expensive or lowest cost to mine Bitcoin. When you include other costs, Iren is actually the better one there. But their growth and scale and their continuation to grow more, I don't get it either on that one. The only thing I can think of, like I said before, is the convertible notes that they have there. Maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. Just some things that I'm thinking of here. Hi, so you keep saying BTC needs to go higher, but it's at 94,000, which is 550% in 2 years. While most of the miners are actually flat or down since January 2022, just saying, mate, they're actually up. Most of the miners, if you look at from January 2022 when they bottomed out, they are up. I got the chart. I got the chart for the charts. Let me see here. Where's it at? Stock performance on the miners here. If we go back to 1/3/2023, so basically right after they kind of bottomed out here, you can see that the miners are still up quite nicely, maybe not as nicely as Bitcoin is, but they've also come back tremendously. If you were lucky enough to buy or sell out of them into the tops when they had them last year, right, where a lot of these guys, Mar got to like 30-some odd dollars, Cleanspark got to $24, I think it was. Iren got quite higher as well, I think 14, whatever it was, dollars, I can't remember exactly. They were definitely outperforming Bitcoin at that point, right? But recently here with Bitcoin coming back down, they have come down. But they're still not too far off from Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 407%. Iren has still performed the best, 426% here. Out of the miners here, Cleanspark is up 319%, Cypher up 381%, Marathon 318%, so those guys are pretty close to each other. But yeah, so they're close to, I mean, Bitcoin has done well though. But we need this next leg up in price in Bitcoin to possibly see these miners catch a nice bid up as well. But we've seen a lot of short interest on these guys here, which has kept them down, unfortunately. We didn't have that last cycle, or at least not as much as we are seeing it this cycle. But this could be also a different cycle. It could be an extended cycle. We could go up longer. So we'll see. Let's go back to the Q&A here. See what other questions we got. All right. Let's see. If miners are being shorted to hedge other positions in BTC or MicroStrategy, etc., then the higher priced miners will be the best targets. Higher priced targets, you mean like currently, like the ones that have a higher price for, I mean, Cleanspark's not that high price. Cleanspark's only, what, $8, something like that right now. As it is, $8.50, yeah, $9, yeah, it's $8.44 right now. So it's not that higher priced. I mean, maybe really look at market caps and things like that. But they have a huge hodl position, great operations, good revenue going there for them as well. I don't know. Let's see, talked about that one. Let's see, Seb, are you buying BBAI now? I'm not buying anything right now. I'm low on cash. Sarmelin says, we will never see the increase in inflows into the miners to make up for the record break-in dilution. Not accretive at all. Shareholders got screwed. Plain and simple. I mean, that is definitely your opinion, right? I viewed it a little bit differently. And the cycle's not over yet. So when the cycle's over and we're still at these levels and things like that, I'll be the first to admit that, yeah, things didn't work out. I was wrong on this completely. And yeah, but I'm just not there yet. I want to see the cycle play out, see where we end up at. You know, if you look back at the other cycle, well, if it's a different cycle, it doesn't really matter. But last cycle, at least, the miners really did outperform Bitcoin quite nicely here, especially when Bitcoin was going up to the new all-time highs. 69,000 the first time, and then 69,000 or 63,000 the first time, and 69,000 to the second time that cycle. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Kimchi says, every day an easy day. Yep. All right. Do you have any spreadsheets that shows a comparison of all-in cost to mine Bitcoin for the miners? I do have that, Stefan. Let me pull that up. It is an estimate. It's not an exact. It's based on what they report in their quarterly results that I can figure out for the most part. Where is it at? Miners break even is what I'm looking for on the charts. Monthly break even. There it is. Okay, so this is just an estimate, plus or minus 10% on it, with a caveat there, right? But it's going to be kind of close to it, I would think. And this is extrapolated information too. So I'm looking at the Q4 results for these guys, extrapolating what the cost was for them to mine a Bitcoin at that point. We're looking at like quarterly expenses, energy expenses as well. We're combining that all, and then what were they mining last 3 months, which was basically January, February, and March on average. What is that average hash rate? What is their average uptime? All that stuff. What does that cost come up to be? And if costs more or less stay the same for SG&A, things like that, right? Cash costs. I'm also trying to take out the stock-based compensation there as well, and this is kind of what we get. So this is the table there. You can take a look at it. I do have that. I do keep track of it, and I try to extrapolate it into the current quarter that we're in, more or less, where Bitcoin price is, the average hash rate is, all that stuff obviously plays into it as well. Okay, I think right now we have, yeah, Bitcoin price at 82,500. Probably should bring this up because we're at 90, what are we at, 94,000 right now. And this was definitely much lower at the price that we were, but it doesn't really change much here other than showing us which miners could be possibly in the green. And hash rate is right around there, 855 to like 870, depending where you look at it. But then it just at least shows us companies with share-based compensation that are positive, and without share-based compensation, they're also positive without that. So basically cash expenses. But if you include share-based compensation, well, that definitely brings down some of these guys here to be in the red because they do sometimes provide a lot. So if they stop doing that, things will look much better for them. Okay, so I do have that. Hope that helps out. Let's go back here. Okay. KB Dubs says Mara might be the worst miner. More dilution is coming. Thank you, Fred. Well, they're diluting in order to hodl everything, right? That's the result of that. So I don't like that particularly for full years, whatever it might be. I like it. I mean, I'm fine with it if you do it for a certain amount of time, a year or something like that, where you're basically before the halving event or slightly before the halving event, and you want to accumulate as much as you can Bitcoin, and then enjoy that right up in Bitcoin price as it goes to a new all-time high. Okay, I'm okay with that, but I'm not a big fan of just dilution at all costs for Bitcoin holding. You know, if you're a Bitcoin miner, I'm okay with you holding a lot of it, but you still have, I think at least you should sell some of it to fund your operations and dilute less the shareholders there. But that's just my thoughts on it. Could be wrong. It might actually work out for Mara. All right, Howard's got a question here. Does it ever appear to you that maybe miners will never get a fair value ever? Whenever miners get close to fair values, dilution has crashed the price back down. When can it get fair values? Thoughts? Yeah, I think we need some of these guys. Some of these guys are already getting to scale, but we need them to get to scale. That's the big thing for the miners. If they can do that, then you can basically fund operations, you can fund growth and everything else, but you got to get to scale. That scale is at 50 exahash. I think that's where it's at right now, more or less. If you can get above that even more, all the better. I'd like to see that around 75 exahash. Actually, I think that would be fantastic. That would solve a lot of the problems that the miners are having as far as, you know, overhead, employees, stock-based compensation, also, what's the other one? Depreciation as well, right? On those things, that should cover it all. So I'd love to see them get to a much larger scale than they are right now. That should help out. At that point, I think you can dilute less, unless you have that mentality where you're going to dilute in order to buy more Bitcoin, hodl everything, and not fund operations through operation, but fund operations through dilution. Okay, then you're not going to really do anything. You're going to accumulate a lot more, and at that point, you're basically betting on Bitcoin going up to $1 million, right? So that hodl that you have there gets valued a heck of a lot more than what it is right now in a number of years, potentially. Okay, BTC was down at quarter end. Do you think the impact on the earnings will impact the price when they announce earnings? I think it's already priced in. I mean, the miners came down. Bitcoin came down 30%, but the miners were down, 60, 70% towards the bottom there. So, yeah, I think it's already priced in for the most part. And Bitcoin coming up here is also good. But yeah, a lot of the companies that had the FASB, right, with Bitcoin hodl, they're going to take it on the chin, some more than others. Obviously, companies that had a lot more are going to take it much harder than some that had a little bit less. Heinz got a question here. Any Iren news, Seb? Kind of quiet. The only thing we got an update was from them today on their Sweetwater site. They're just grading the earth there, getting it ready for power hookups and things like that. Maybe even internet hookups. I don't know. But not much news as far as any hyperscalers being signed up for those sites. So we're still waiting on that. B82 here has got a question. Do you have any data that would show the average cost per BTC in the various miner hodl versus MicroStrategy? The miners spend much dollars on infrastructure, whereas MicroStrategy just buys it. Yeah, but also the miners can mine it at a much lower cost, right? Depending on the miner also. Some miners have much higher cost than others. So I don't have any charts for that. I do have like the MNAV value for the miners, but I don't think I got MicroStrategy in there. Let me see here. MNAV, yeah, I do have this. We do check on this every once in a while here, which is right there. And this is just on the miners that have a hodl position here. I don't have a strategy in here. Obviously, you can look up MicroStrategy pretty easily on that and see where their MNAV is compared to their asset value, right? MNAV, miners market to net asset value. That's what we're looking at here. And we can see Mara's at 1.11. Cleanspark at 1.07, Bitfarms is at 0.93, BitDeer 5.29, way over there. Kind of overheated as well. So I have this data, but I don't have a data like the one you're looking for on those. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. Okay, Hot Water's got a question here. Just to follow Chris' question on MicroStrategy from the bottom, MicroStrategy to now, not counting top and price, still climbing. MicroStrategy 25x and best miner is only 5x at best. Miners will not catch MicroStrategy. Let's take a look at, I mean, if you look at the bottom, when was the bottom on now? Was it also back in December of 2022 on MicroStrategy? Let's see. Let's take a look at it here. Bitcoin. Let's do Bitcoin over MicroStrategy. Where's it at? There it is. So if we look at that and we go add MSTR, let's have MSTR same as scale. Okay, we got that. Let's zoom out. We'll do on the weekly chart, probably be faster than anything. Let's see, we got 2022, January 2022. So right about here is where Bitcoin and the miners kind of bottomed out. Or are we going back here just a little bit more? January, December. Okay, right about there. I was thinking where things bottomed out. Yeah, MicroStrategy is up 567%, and Bitcoin is up only 114% from there. So Iren's up from the bottom 400 some percent. So it's pretty close to MicroStrategy, but not quite as it is right now. Yeah. So MicroStrategy has done very, very well here this time around. But they've also been buying a heck of a lot more than they have been in the past. So maybe that's a result of that. But yeah, Bitcoin going up definitely helps. Then yeah, I mean, I have no problem with you owning MicroStrategy. Just as long as you buy it at, better times. That we saw a lot of people buying MicroStrategy when it was, $480, $500. Like, maybe you want to wait a little bit before you buy into MicroStrategy, only because it has gone up so much, right? We had people buying it over here. It's like, man, I'm seeing this. I'm saying this is looking like it's crazily extended, overextended on its valuation. It's going to pull back, and sure enough, it did pull back here quite a bit. Just like I was kind of saying back here when I got up here, I was saying it's looking a little overheated. It's probably going to pull back a little bit, and sure enough, it did. But MicroStrategy does that from time to time. It gets overextended and then comes back down to reality, and then starts to hype back up. And we're kind of seeing that a little bit right now as it is. I mean, right now we're seeing, 5 weeks in the green here on this based on the weekly. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, we're in the 5th week right now with it being in the green. So it's starting to get a little heated again. We'll see where it goes. Obviously, they keep buying here anyways. So Bitcoin goes up, that's definitely bode well. But eventually they're going to get overheated, but I think they can go much higher. But you're going to have this kind of thing where they go up and then they come back down to reality a little bit. All right, let's go back here. Okay. Let's see. Hello Bomb says miners are scraping break even. When that happens, Bitcoin pumps. When we got close to 70-some thousand on Bitcoin, yeah, some of the miners were definitely scraping just barely even at that point. All right. What price BTC Hut 8 can do 40 USD? Oh gosh, that I don't know. Remember, they're divesting themselves of the Bitcoin mining business side of things. They're putting that on the American BTC side. They are going to get 80% of that, and the other 20% is on the Trump brothers there in partnership. I don't know how that's going to all work out. Right now, they're still reporting, but eventually I think they're going to make that into a separate entity. And that's going to also try to get their own ticker symbol, be in the markets, try to raise money that by themselves. And with them owning 80% of it, it's going to impact, obviously, the stock a little bit if that one does pretty good. But the only way I could see them getting to $40 is Bitcoin getting to like 200 some odd thousand, and them also getting like an actual reported deal with Meta for the site that they're supposed to be building out in Louisiana there. I think that would definitely help out, and if it's a really good deal. Right? So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see that one. Guy says, I don't think so. BTC will reach more than 150,000 if by any chance it can reach, and Cleanspark will not reach above 13 this cycle. Okay. I have a different theory. I think Bitcoin's going to go much higher, and so will Cleanspark. Right? I'm saying Cleanspark can probably do at least a 20, if not higher than that, if we get some of the shorts off their backs, possibly. Let's see, BD2 says, however, what is fair value? Stocks are valued by total market cap based on profits, expected revenue, profit, growth, etc. The individual share price is just the market cap spread across the shares. Yeah, I would agree there. Rohit, are you planning to buy some Hive? It is the most attractive in terms of valuation to growth and operations. It is. Based on what we're seeing here, it's way undervalued. I owned Hive from basically 2017, 2018, all the way through, when did I sell? I sold in 2023, I think, on that one. And the only reason I sold it was the stock wasn't doing that great during those. I mean, it did pretty good in the 2021 cycle, but after that, it didn't do great. And the reason for that was not a lot of growth happening with them. The Ethereum mining also went away from them. That was a lot of the cash flow that they had from Ethereum. And then we didn't see much growth here from them last year. And then finally this year they stepped up and are growing quite nicely here. So I'll have to wait and see how they do and how does the market respond to that, I guess. But yeah, good growth coming up here, 25 exahash by the end of third quarter. Will the market appreciate that? I don't know. Well, hasn't, maybe that will finally catch a little light underneath it. Let's see, Under says, nobody will want Iren's field in the middle of nowhere, Texas. That's over an hour away from civilization. Items field of dreams is turning into a nightmare for shareholders, such a waste of money. I mean, it's not too far. It's, yeah, like you said, an hour away from civilization. I think it's, what is it, Dallas? I can't remember, Dallas or Houston there. But it's an hour away. So it's not too bad. But yeah, I mean, typically you want to have these data centers closer to big metropolitan areas. So we'll see if they get anything. If not, if they don't get any kind of thing for HPCI, I mean, they're going to be probably full steam ahead with Bitcoin mining. That's going to be huge, though. So I looked at it this way. I looked at it with Iren as Bitcoin mining is why I'm in it. Great operations, great cost to mine, probably the best cost to mine out of everybody. And then great growth here in the last 2 years, I would say. Definitely improvement from what we've seen in the past. And if the way I looked at it was if they get an HPCI deal, that's a bonus. If they don't, they got 2 gigawatts to use up for their own Bitcoin mining, and that's going to be huge. So for me, it's a win-win, one way or another. Eventually, maybe they'll find out that they're not getting anything for HPCI, and they're just going to pivot right back into Bitcoin mining and go forward in that way. So it's not a waste. The sites can be used for one thing or the other. All right. The guy says this BTC cycle is different, and I believe it will different every cycle now. It wouldn't be like previous cycles anymore. Yeah, I think the same thing. What we're seeing here is already a different cycle. It might be an extended cycle, which I'm thinking it might be, and which might actually be pretty good for the miners here, but we'll see. All right. So Gary's got a question here. Where do the miners get free miners so they don't need to include miner depreciation all the in costs? They can't get free miners. They're always going to buy them. I mean, unless you buy like second-hand miners that are much lower cost, but then what's the point of that? Right, they're maybe going to last you another year or two, if that. So there's no way to do that unless you maybe build your own. Maybe that's what we're going to see, right? We got Mara working with Auradine. We got BitDeer making their own. We got Bitmain making their own. There's Canon also. What's Miner? Others, Block is making a miner as well. So maybe that's going to be the future where the miners themselves just create their own miners for themselves and basically buy them at cost. I don't know. All right. What are your thoughts on CEP? CEP is the, oh gosh, what's that called? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It's the vehicle that's going to be used to get 21 Corp or whatever it's called. A SPAC, it's a special purpose acquisition company or something like that. So right now the valuation on it seems off, right? Where 21 is supposed to have like 4.2 billion of Bitcoin on their balance sheet once they do go through this SPAC merger. And then, I mean, right now, last time I checked, CEP was valued at like 400 million, so that doesn't really make sense there. But I don't know all the details on the merger, how that's going to work, and the SPAC, everything else. That might get all changed. Number of shares is going to change, and then things might be valued properly at that point. So I would hold off on for now. I know it's had a huge pump here recently, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it, so I'll leave it at that. Let's see. BT2 says, question, MicroStrategy over time increases the BTC per share even when shares increase. The miners haven't done this. Will they ever increase BTC share over extended time? Cleanspark's doing that kind of right now, right, where they're saying that they're going to not dilute, at least possibly this year. And they're going to sell partially their Bitcoin that they do mine to cover expenses, growth, operations, things like that. So you're going to see that from them. Who else is going to possibly do that? I don't know. But like I said before, I think the miners need to get to a certain scale And whether that scale is 50 exahash or 75 exahash, that I don't know for sure. It all depends on individual companies as far as what their cost is to mine, what is their expenses, all that stuff. But yeah, eventually they could do it, but they got to get to scale. Scale will help with all that. All right, question, is Galaxy a good alternative than miners? Galaxy has, Galaxy has struck it out of the ballpark here, buying the site from Argo, the Helios facility, and now turning that over into an HPCI data center for CoreWeave. That's a great deal for them. Galaxy is a good one there also that I would look into. But now that Galaxy has a contract in place, the only thing that's going to move the stock there is possibly them getting more into like data center plays or getting more customers, all right? Because right now the revenue is going to be pretty much set in stone for them. They do have other business segments that they have part of Galaxy. I think they do some lending and things like that as well. But the bread and butter there is going to be possibly from the HPCI deal for the next, 15 years possibly, I think, on that one. All right. Andre says, Iren ruined my portfolio. It's never going to recover. Wasting billions on HPC that goes obsolete, worthless every 18 months. Can't resell out of data machines. Will never make the billions back. I think, it's not an easy thing to do, and I don't think they want to buy all of these HPCI machines. I think they want to just build out the data center for somebody and have somebody rent it out for them, basically lease it. I think that's the goal there, because yeah, if you're spending, it's hot. They don't even have the money to do it. You're looking at a data center for this stuff at, oh my gosh, 2,000 megawatts at a cost of, do the math, 2,000 megawatts load on the data center itself that can be used for would probably be around 1.6 gigawatts, so 1,600 megawatts. Multiply that times 10 million or 12 million per megawatt. What does it cost to build that out? That is astronomical, and they don't have the kind of funding to do it. They need somebody else to come in there, kind of like CoreWeave did with Core Scientific and with Galaxy as well, to help kind of cover some of the costs for build out and things like that. You just need deep, deep pockets, and the miners don't have that right now. What else? Cat King says the bull market is over. Bear is going to take over. I think the opposite. I don't think we're done yet. Best is yet to come to us. A lot of money is tied up in the miners, and got to say they suck. Bitcoin is at 95,000. Miners are totally decoupled from BTCX. Being shorted, all you can have is hopium as that. Yeah, you got to be positive. Miners, I'm still going on the thought process that as they generate more revenue, as Bitcoin goes up in value, they should be valued higher. We will see. All right, let's see here. Will miners' future value be more based on their current hodl or BTC yet to be mined? It seems MicroStrategy has a larger hodl today than all the miners combined will ever have. Only 1 million BTC yet to be mined. Yeah, MicroStrategy's got 550 some odd thousand Bitcoin. These guys combined have maybe close to, I would say, what do they have? Maybe close to 90 to 100,000 Bitcoin combined, if we count them all. So yeah, MicroStrategy is definitely way out ahead of them on it. And I don't know what, right now the miners it's hard to tell whether they're being valued on their hodl or their operations. If you look at Mara's not being valued, it seems like it's being valued on their hodl and not their operations. It could be the other way around. Right? The stock should be valued 2x from where it is right now to be fairly valued with the hodl that they have and also their operations, more or less. But it's not. Gary says, whoever is doing the math for Iren is obviously doing a good job. They will be only profitable miner for second quarter in a row. When it comes to Bitcoin mining, they're going to, and I think Cleanspark's going to get close. We'll see if Cleanspark can do it without the FSB. Right? If you extract that out, will they be actually positive? They said there should be positive for this first quarter here. We'll see if they get there. Love Guru says, your devotion is appreciated, Sebastian. May peace reign in your house and Bitcoin makes you prosperous. I appreciate it. Thank you. Same to you and everybody else. All right. I've come up to all you guys' questions here. My throat's starting to get dry here a little bit. We'll see where we go from here. I'm guessing, I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see where tomorrow goes. I have no idea where tomorrow's going to go. Could go either up or down on Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners as well. And we're getting close to quarterly results, minor operation updates for May as well. That's all going to be coming up. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about later on this week. Again, thank you so much for coming in as always. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all. Love you all. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then, bye.